Rylan Voss crouched behind the outpost's reinforced wall, the wind cutting through his jacket like icy knives. The barren plains stretched in every direction, a gray wasteland under a dull, pale sun. Nothing lived here, or so they thought. Then came the noise. A soft, high-pitched whine echoed across the rocky ground. Rylan's hand went to his energy rifle instinctively, but he froze. The sound was wrong, too small, too desperate. He scanned the horizon. Nothing moved. Yet the sound continued, trembling and urgent. He stepped out carefully, each boot crunching against the dust. The whine drew him toward a jagged outcrop not far from the perimeter fence. At first he saw only rocks and shadows. Then something stirred. A small shape blinked up at him. It was a creature no human had seen before, a hatchling of some kind, no larger than a dog, but its scales shimmered faintly with an inner light. Its wings were folded awkwardly, one bent at a sharp angle. The creature shivered, letting out another plaintive cry. Rylan's pulse raced. He should call the command, alert security. Standard protocol demanded containment. Yet something in those glowing eyes stopped him. There was fear there, yes, but also intelligence, curiosity, almost like it understood him. "Hey, easy," he whispered, lowering his rifle. His voice was steady, calm. "I won't hurt you." The hatchling hesitated. Its eyes darted to the perimeter fence, then to the rocks behind it. Its tail twitched nervously. Rylan took a cautious step forward, keeping his movements slow. The wind shifted suddenly, carrying with it a deeper, heavier sound, a growl that made Rylan's stomach knot. He froze. Something bigger was out there, unseen, moving between the rocks. Whatever it was, it had caught the hatchling's scent. The creature whimpered, dragging itself closer to Rylan. He could see the injury in its wing, a ragged tear that would never heal without help. His instincts screamed, either leave it or risk everything to save it. Rylan crouched lower, reaching out with a steady hand. The hatchling sniffed him, then pressed its small body against his palm. Its warmth was real, and in that moment he felt a strange connection, a spark of trust. A shadow flickered at the edge of his vision. Rylan snapped his head toward it and saw the predator for the first time, a massive, multi-legged scavenger, sleek and black, its mandibles clicking with hunger. It moved faster than the eye could follow, circling the outpost like a storm ready to strike. "Come on," Rylan muttered under his breath. He had no time to aim, no time to think. He scooped the hatchling into his arms, feeling its tiny body pulse with fear. The predator lunged at the rocks beside him, sending a shower of dust and pebbles into the air. Rylan sprinted toward the reinforced gate, the hatchling clinging to him, its soft whines drowned by the predator's roar. Inside the outpost, the alarm blared. Lights flashed red. Soldiers emerged from the barracks, rifles raised, shouting orders. Rylan ignored them. He dashed toward the medical bay, weaving past equipment and crates. Every second counted. Outside, the scavenger scraped its claws against the wall, testing the perimeter. He slammed the hatchling onto a metal counter and ripped a medkit from the shelf. The creature's small body trembled violently. Rylan tore strips of cloth to make a splint for its broken wing. The hatchling hissed in protest but didn't bite. It was frightened, but it trusted him. Rylan worked quickly, wrapping and stabilizing. He could feel the hatchling's tiny heart pounding under his hands. He whispered, "Almost done, hang on." The medkit's lights flickered, casting strange shadows across the hatchling's shimmering scales. Its glow pulsed faintly, almost reacting to Rylan's touch. Another roar echoed from outside, closer this time. Rylan looked through the reinforced window and saw the predator clawing at the gate, relentless. The outpost security drones tried to respond, but the creature was clever, dodging, testing, circling. Rylan clenched his jaw. There was no time to think about protocol, no time to wait for backup. He had a choice: leave the hatchling to fend for itself or risk everything to protect it. He scooped the hatchling up again, feeling its tiny claws grip his sleeve. Its soft whines turned into a low, vibrating hum, almost like a warning. Rylan's mind raced. Was it trying to signal him? Could it fight back? He didn't know, but there was no time to dwell. The predator roared again, louder, shaking the reinforced wall. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rylan's hands tightened on the hatchling. He stepped into the dim hallway, ready to move deeper into the outpost towards safety, or whatever lay beyond. And then, the hatchling's glow flared bright, bathing the hallway in pulsing light. The sound it made wasn't just fear, it was power, a strange, resonant vibration that made Rylan stumble backward in shock. The predator froze outside, growling, confused, as if the light had struck it with fear it had never known. Rylan swallowed hard. He had no idea what this little creature could do, but one thing was clear. His life and the life of everyone in the outpost had just changed forever. And from the shadows of the hallway, another sound emerged, soft, deliberate, and unlike anything he'd heard before. Something else was watching, waiting. Something far bigger than this hatchling, and far more dangerous than the scavenger outside. Rylan tightened his grip. He whispered almost to himself, "We're not alone, and this is only the beginning." Rylan pressed the hatchling against his chest, the small creature's glow still pulsing softly, casting strange shadows across the med bay. Its wing was splinted, but it trembled, its tiny body shivering like a leaf in a storm. The roar outside had faded, replaced by the low rumble of the predators circling the outpost. Rylan knew time was against him. The automated gates weren't designed to hold something this smart. Every second counted. He glanced at the comm console. Calling for reinforcements might take too long, and revealing the hatchling could get him in serious trouble. Protocol didn't allow harboring alien creatures. But his gut told him there was no choice: protect the hatchling or it would die. He bolted from the med bay, weaving past hallways and bulkheads. Soldiers shouted in confusion as he passed, but Rylan ignored them, holding the hatchling carefully. "Move," he barked. "Back to the storage wing." A junior soldier hesitated, eyeing the glowing creature. "Sir, what is that thing?" It's alive," Rylan said sharply. "And if we leave it out there, it dies." The soldier swallowed hard and fell in line. No one questioned him further. Rylan led them through narrow corridors, their footsteps echoing against metal walls. Every few seconds, a vibration from the hatchling's glow made the air hum faintly. The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. None had seen anything like it. Rylan reached the storage wing, a cavernous room filled with supply crates and equipment. He ducked behind a stack of metal containers and set the hatchling down gently. Its small eyes blinked at him, almost as if it understood the danger surrounding them. "Stay low. Stay quiet," he whispered. "I'll handle this." Outside, the predator scratched and snarled against the perimeter. Rylan peeked through a viewport. Its dark, armored body moved with uncanny intelligence, testing weak points, calculating its approach. Standard weapons would slow it but not stop it. He needed another plan. The hatchling shifted in place, its glow flickering rapidly. Rylan froze. Something was changing. The hum it made grew louder, resonating through the metal floor. He felt a slight vibration under his boots, subtle but distinct. The predator outside stopped moving, its antenna-like appendages twitching. It hissed, backing up slightly. Rylan's eyes widened. The hatchling wasn't just scared, it could influence the world around it. Somehow its energy pulses were affecting the predator. But how? And could it do more? He had no time to figure it out. A sudden explosion rocked the outpost. One of the outer walls buckled under a concentrated strike from the predator, sending shards of metal and sparks flying. Dust filled the hallways. Soldiers scrambled, shouting warnings, but Rylan stayed focused on the hatchling. "Hang on, little one," he muttered, pressing a hand over its head. The creature whimpered, then flared its glow brighter. The light cut through the smoke, momentarily blinding the predator. It let out a confused roar and retreated slightly. Rylan realized something crucial. The hatchling's glow could be used as a weapon. Not in the traditional sense but as a deterrent, a shield, something the predator feared. That gave him an idea. He grabbed a metal crate and shoved it against the storage door. Then carefully he coaxed the hatchling closer to the door. "Do it again," he whispered. The hatchling's glow pulsed rapidly, and the metal vibrated under the energy. Outside, the predator stopped, hissed, and finally skittered back, retreating to the shadows. Rylan exhaled slowly. It had worked. The hatchling had saved them. But he knew it was temporary. The predator would return, smarter and hungrier. And now higher command could be on its way. He turned to the soldiers hiding behind crates. "Listen carefully," he said. "This isn't just an alien. It's something else. Something important. We protect it. No questions. No exceptions." The soldiers nodded, some hesitant, some awed by the creature's strange power. Rylan felt a spark of pride. Humans could face the impossible, even when the odds seemed stacked against them. Courage wasn't just in fighting, it was in choosing to act when everything else told you not to. Hours passed in tense silence. The hatchling curled against Rylan, glowing faintly. Its hum had slowed, almost calming the nerves of everyone in the room. Rylan studied it, trying to understand what it was, what it could do. The glow wasn't random, it reacted to his voice, his touch, even the presence of danger. A sudden alert on the comm console broke the calm. An incoming transmission from the command tower flashed across the screen. They had detected an unauthorized energy spike, likely from the hatchling, and were sending a retrieval team. Ryland's stomach tightened. If command arrived, they would take the hatchling, possibly kill it for study or leave it exposed outside. He couldn't let that happen. He looked down at the small creature, its eyes bright with trust and fear. He whispered, "We're not done yet. You and I, we survived this together." Outside, the predator stirred again, more cautious this time, sensing the hatchling's power but unwilling to give up. And in the distance, the faint outline of a second larger shadow appeared over the rocky hills, moving slowly, deliberately. Something else was coming. Ryland clenched his fists. Protecting this hatchling was no longer just about saving one life. It was about standing against a threat no one had imagined, using intelligence, courage, and compassion. Humanity's best traits were on full display, and failure was not an option. The hatchling's glow flared once more, pulsing in rhythm with the tension in the room. Ryland knew this was only the beginning. Whatever lay beyond the outpost, whatever the predator and that larger shadow meant, he and the hatchling would face it together. And then a sharp, deliberate tapping came from the storage roof above, slow and steady, like claws testing the metal. Ryland froze. Someone, or something, was already inside. Ryland froze, the hatchling's glow trembling in his arms. The tapping continued, slow, deliberate, almost intelligent. It wasn't the predator. That thing stayed outside. This was something else, something inside. He scanned the storage room, every shadow, every stack of crates. Then he saw it, a faint shimmer like a distortion in the air moving along the ceiling. The hatchling hissed softly, pressing closer to Ryland. Its wings twitched, glowing brighter, sending ripples of light across the walls. "Stay calm," Ryland whispered, but his own heartbeat thundered in his chest. He stepped carefully toward the nearest ladder, scanning for any movement. Whoever, or whatever, was above them he had to know before it acted. The shimmer grew, coalescing into a vague, humanoid shape. It hovered above the crates, silent. For a moment, Ryland thought it might be another human, some scout sent by command, but its body pulsed with the same faint light as the hatchling. And its eyes, they glowed like molten gold. The hatchling let out a sharp, warning cry. Ryland froze. This wasn't a threat to fight, yet the air vibrated with tension, like static before a storm. Suddenly the figure spoke, no words, just a resonant hum that Ryland felt in his chest. The hatchling responded immediately, its glow synchronizing with the vibrations. Ryland's mind raced. Was this communication? He swallowed hard. "I don't know what you are," he said aloud, his voice steadier than he felt. "But if you mean harm, I won't let you." The figure shifted, and suddenly, a holographic image projected in the air between them. Lines, symbols, and a faint star map flickered across the room. Ryland blinked. The hatchling stirred violently, circling him as if urging him to pay attention. Ryland realized the truth. The hatchling carried encrypted data in its scales, a map of some kind, coordinates pointing to a location on this planet that no human knew about. The figure above wasn't hostile. It was connected. Perhaps guiding him. Perhaps warning him. His pulse quickened. "So this isn't just a creature," he muttered. "It's a key. A message. A map." Before he could process further, a tremor shook the floor. Dust and debris rained from the ceiling. The predator outside had returned, stronger this time, battering the outpost's outer walls. Ryland gritted his teeth. He had to protect the hatchling and get the information safe. Thinking fast, he grabbed a nearby tablet and started recording the holographic map. The hatchling squirmed in his arms, glowing, responding to the vibrations of the projection. Somehow, the small creature understood what needed to be preserved. A sudden alarm screamed across the outpost. Lights flashed red. Ryland looked up just in time to see the figure above vanish, dissolving into a pulse of light that scattered across the walls. The hatchling squealed, then collapsed against his chest, exhausted. Ryland's stomach dropped. Whatever that figure was, it wasn't coming back. But the map data had been partially transferred. He had something to follow, something humans were never supposed to see. And now, command would surely demand answers. He turned toward the storage exit, but the hatchling stiffened. Its glow brightened, wings spreading slightly. Ryland realized it sensed something. Something dangerous. Through the reinforced window he saw it, a shadow moving faster than the predator. Larger, broader, intelligent. Not random. Not mindless. The creature was scanning, analyzing, almost hunting. and it knew the hatchling existed. Ryland's mind raced. He had no conventional weapons capable of stopping it. Not yet. But he did have intelligence, quick thinking, and the trust of this tiny creature glowing in his arms. And for the first time he understood something vital. The hatchling wasn't just a companion, it was humanity's advantage in this impossible situation. "All right, little one," he whispered. "We follow the map. We survive this. Together." The hatchling chirped softly, almost affirming his words. Its glow flared again, pulsing like a heartbeat. Ryland had never felt so aware of one other being, so linked in a fight for survival. He scanned the storage room for an exit route. Standard hallways would expose them to the predator and the unknown shadow outside. Then he noticed a narrow maintenance tunnel, almost hidden behind crates. It led downward beneath the outpost, possibly to old tunnels or supply conduits. It was a risk, but less visible than the main corridors. Ryland took a deep breath, calming himself. He could see the fear in the soldiers' eyes behind him. None of them wanted to face this. But he did. He always did. Humanity thrived not by hiding but by acting, thinking, risking, surviving. "Follow me," he ordered. Soldiers hesitated, then moved. The hatchling clung to him, glowing steadily. Every step toward the tunnel brought new tension, the floor trembling faintly as the predator outside tested the walls again. Just as they reached the tunnel entrance, a sharp crack echoed above. The ceiling shifted slightly, sending a cascade of dust and loose panels crashing down. Ryland barely dodged. The hatchling chirped nervously, wings flaring. Something had followed them into the outpost, something alive and unseen, watching their every move. Ryland pressed the hatchling closer. "We're not done yet," he whispered. "And whatever's coming, we'll face it head-on. Together." From somewhere deeper in the shadows of the outpost, a soft, metallic scraping echoed, a slow, deliberate sound, signaling that the real challenge was only beginning. Ryland's boots hit the metal tunnel floor with a hollow clang. The hatchling squirmed in his arms, glowing faintly as if sensing the danger closing in. The narrow corridor smelled of dust and old machinery, shadows stretching like claws. Every step brought him closer to safety, or into the jaws of something far deadlier than the predator outside. The soldiers behind him stumbled, their fear tangible. Ryland pressed on. Fear was natural, but it couldn't stop them. Courage wasn't the absence of fear, it was acting despite it. He tightened his grip on the hatchling. Its tiny claws dug lightly into his jacket, a pulse of trust that anchored him. A metallic screech echoed from above. Ryland froze, realizing the unseen presence from the storage roof had followed them. Something moved along the tunnel walls, deliberate, silent, faster than any human could run. He could feel the hatchling's wings twitching, its glow brightening in warning. "Stay close. Stay low," Ryland ordered the soldiers. His mind raced, calculating every possible outcome. There was no conventional way to fight this. The hatchling had already shown it could affect the predator outside, but could it help inside the tunnel? There was only one way to find out. He carefully set the hatchling down on the tunnel floor. "Do it," he whispered. The creature's glow pulsed rapidly, the light spreading in waves through the narrow space. Ryland felt the vibration under his feet, subtle but forceful. The unseen intruder froze mid-step, its movements erratic. Something about the hatchling's energy disrupted it, confused it. Ryland acted fast. Using a supply crate, he improvised a barricade behind them. Sparks flew as he jammed metal panels into place, giving them a temporary barrier. Every second counted. Outside, the predator's roar had returned, shaking the outpost walls in warning. Ryland's mind flashed. If they stayed, both dangers could converge. He needed to move, now. "Follow me," he shouted, leading the group down a narrower vent that branched off the main tunnel. It was a tight squeeze, barely wide enough for one at a time, but it offered concealment and cover. The hatchling flapped its small wings, glowing brighter, almost guiding him. Ryland realized it was more than reactive. It was strategic. Halfway through the vent, the ground vibrated violently. The predator had breached the outer gates again and the outpost shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Ryland's stomach churned, but he forced himself to stay calm. Panic would get them killed. He focused instead on the hatchling's glow, the only beacon in this chaos. Suddenly, a shadow loomed in the vent ahead. Ryland froze. The unseen presence, larger than the hatchling, humanoid in shape but alien, was blocking their path. Its golden eyes glowed, scanning, assessing. The soldiers behind him pressed together, terrified. Ryland clenched his fists. He had no weapons effective against this thing. But he did have the hatchling and he had human ingenuity. "Trust me," he whispered, placing the hatchling gently on the ground in front of the intruder. The creature's glow flared, pulsing in rhythm with the intruder's vibrations. The alien froze, almost startled. The light spread outward, touching the walls, reflecting in the vent's metal. The hatchling hissed, not in fear but in command. Its small body radiated a resonance that Rylan could feel in his chest. The intruder hesitated, then with a low metallic screech retreated backward, its movements cautious. Rylan seized the moment. He scooped up the hatchling and with the soldiers following, sprinted toward a larger maintenance chamber that led deeper underground. The vent twisted and narrowed, forcing them to move single file. Every corner hid unseen danger. Dust and debris fell around them as they ran. The hatchling's glow lit their path, its soft hum almost soothing amidst the chaos. Rylan could feel the energy from the creature reacting to every movement outside the vent. The predator, the alien, the shaking structures. Somehow, it amplified their advantage and he understood. The hatchling wasn't just a companion, it was humanity's edge against forces beyond comprehension. They reached the maintenance chamber and Rylan slammed the hatchling into a corner, shielding it with his body. He grabbed a pile of cables and twisted them into a crude trap, setting it near the chamber entrance. The predator's roar echoed from the distance, but now with the hatchling's light and the makeshift trap, they had a chance. "Get ready," he whispered to the soldiers. "This is our only shot." Moments later, the predator burst into the chamber, massive and furious. Rylan felt its heat, its weight, the raw danger pressing on them. He pushed forward instinctively, keeping the hatchling safe. The creature glowed, pulsing violently, sending a resonant wave through the chamber. Sparks flew from the cables, reacting to the energy in the air. The predator staggered, confused and temporarily paralyzed. Rylan seized the chance. He grabbed the hatchling and bolted through the maintenance exit, dragging the soldiers with him. The predator roared behind them, but the pulsing glow seemed to repel it, buying precious seconds. They emerged into a hidden service tunnel, leading to a secure, older part of the outpost, abandoned but stable. Rylan collapsed against the wall, panting, the hatchling nestled safely in his arms. The soldiers gathered around, awe and fear mingling in their faces. Rylan whispered to the hatchling, "We made it, for now." He looked around the empty chamber. The predator hadn't followed and the alien presence was gone for now. But he knew it wasn't over. Whatever else awaited them above or beyond this outpost was still out there, smarter and deadlier than anything they had faced. The hatchling's glow pulsed softly against his chest. Rylan smiled grimly. Humanity had survived again, not through brute strength alone, but through courage, intelligence, and the unexpected bond between man and creature. One decision, one act of trust, had changed everything. And then, in the dim light of the tunnel, a low, mechanical hum began, resonating deep beneath the outpost. It wasn't the predator. It wasn't the alien. It was something bigger, something older, something waiting to awaken. Rylan stiffened, his grip tightening. The hatchling stirred, wings flaring in warning. "This isn't over," he said, voice firm, steady. "Not by a long shot." Rylan sank to the floor of the hidden service tunnel, the hatchling resting in his arms. Its glow was softer now, pulsing gently, like a heartbeat syncing with his own. Around him, the soldiers caught their breath, still trembling from the chaos, their faces pale but alive. For a moment, silence reigned. No predator, no alien presence. Just the faint hum of the old tunnel and the soft pulse of the hatchling. Rylan let out a long breath, feeling the weight of everything they had survived. Every decision, every risk, every second of courage had led to this moment. They had survived. He looked down at the hatchling. Its small eyes blinked up at him, full of trust and something almost human, a knowing intelligence. Rylan smiled, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. "You're lucky," he said softly. "And so am I. I wouldn't trade this for anything." A soldier, the youngest of the group, ventured forward. "Sir, what do we do now?" "Command, they'll want answers. They'll want that creature." Rylan's jaw tightened. He knew the consequences. Officially, harboring the hatchling was forbidden. It could be studied, exploited, or destroyed. But he made a choice long ago. Some things were bigger than orders. Some lives, especially extraordinary ones, were worth defying protocol. "We protect it," he said firmly. "No one outside this tunnel finds it. We survive first, answer questions later. We owe it that much." The soldiers nodded. Fear and uncertainty still lingered, but Rylan could see respect in their eyes. They had followed him into danger, trusted his judgment, and seen what courage could accomplish. Humanity wasn't just about strength or weapons, it was about heart, ingenuity, and doing what was right when everything seemed impossible. The hatchling chirped softly, nudging his hand as if acknowledging his words. Its wing, now stabilized, twitched slightly. Rylan realized it had been through just as much as they had. Together they had survived, learned, and grown stronger. Rylan rose slowly, scanning the tunnel. The vibrations from earlier had faded, but a faint metallic hum remained beneath the outpost. Something stirred in the shadows, a reminder that their victory, though significant, was temporary. He knew the predator would return, smarter and hungrier. The alien presence might be back too. And beneath them, whatever had started to awaken in the old service tunnels remained an unknown, looming threat. He pressed the hatchling close, feeling the warmth and pulse of life against his chest. "You saved us, little one," he said. "Not just by fighting, but by showing us what courage looks like even when you're small and alone." The soldiers moved closer, their fear slowly giving way to awe. One murmured, "It's incredible. I've never seen anything like this." Rylan shook his head. "It's not just incredible. It's a reminder. Humans survive because we adapt, we think, and we care. This little creature, it chose to trust us. And that trust gave us a chance. That's what being human is all about." Outside the tunnel, the desert winds blew softly against the outpost walls. The predator had retreated for now, and the alien presence was gone. The outpost itself was battered but standing, a testament to both human resilience and ingenuity. Rylan knew it wasn't permanent. There would be more battles, more dangers, more decisions that demanded courage beyond reason. But for tonight they had won. He carefully laid the hatchling in a small hidden alcove in the tunnel, surrounded by makeshift barriers and soft padding. "Rest," he whispered. "You've earned it." The hatchling chirped, curling up, its glow dimming to a steady, comforting pulse. Rylan looked at the soldiers. "We get through this together," he said. "Every step, every decision, it matters. Humanity isn't just about surviving the odds. It's about rising above them even when no one else believes you can." For the first time that day, a genuine smile crossed his face. Courage, empathy, and intelligence had won the day. One human soldier, facing impossible odds, had protected life, inspired loyalty, and changed the course of events, not through brute force but through determination and moral choice. Then, as he stepped back toward the alcove, a faint vibration beneath the floor caught his attention. The hatchling stirred, ears twitching. Rylan knelt, placing his hand lightly on the ground. The hum was deep and steady, not random. Whatever lay beneath the old tunnels was awakening, sensing life above it. Its presence was massive, deliberate, intelligent. Rylan's pulse quickened, but he didn't panic. Instead, he grinned, tightening his grip on a small toolkit he carried. Humanity had faced worse. They had survived the predator, navigated the unknown, and protected a creature far beyond ordinary comprehension. Whatever this next threat was, they would face it with the same courage and ingenuity. The hatchling chirped again, eyes bright, wings twitching slightly. Its glow pulsed in a rhythm almost like a heartbeat. Rylan whispered, "Looks like we're going on another adventure, and this time it's bigger than anything we've seen." Outside the tunnel, shadows shifted faintly, the winds carrying the echoes of movement from deeper beneath the outpost. Danger, mystery, and opportunity awaited, but for now humanity had won. One soldier, one hatchling, and one impossible choice had changed everything. And somewhere in the distance, deep beneath the surface, a low, resonant vibration began to grow, hinting at a challenge that would demand more courage, intelligence, and heart than Rylan, or anyone, had ever faced. Rylan looked down at the hatchling and smiled. "Ready?" he whispered. The hatchling chirped, glowing brighter than before. This was just the beginning.